Hi everyone, I'm going to show you here how to attach these squares so you can reference it for the future as you keep working on your granny square joining. So here I'm making sure that I have the corners that I want together, my right sides facing out, my wrong sides facing in. Inserting my hook into the space in the corners first, starting from the back, going from the back in, then to the front, going from the front in. Make sure your working yarn is underneath and in between your two squares. Yarn over and pull through all loops on your hook. Here you make sure that you're pulling your working yarn tight so there's not a big gap, and then finish pulling through the last loop on your hook. Now you're going to continue with the process that I showed you, working back loop only and then front loop only, yarning over and pulling through all loops on your hook. As you can see, my stitches are pretty tight here. Don't be like me. Make this nice and loose, or size up your hook to a number 5 instead of a number 4. Sorry, 5mm instead of a 4mm. So continue this process all the way across like you have in the past. And just continue adding your squares 2 by 2 this way. Once you get to a chain space, if you prefer, you can go through the chain spaces just like you would in the corner spaces, but I'm going to show you here what that looks like. Doing this kind of causes the squares to overlap, so then when you're done, it's bulky and awkward in some spots. It's not as flat and smooth as it would be if you either skipped this chain space and skip the chain, or if you really want to, you can go into the one loop of your chain. The reason I don't is because chains often are tighter than other stitches. Like I can't even get through mine. So I've opted to skip this chain and chain space and just go into my next stitch. Do what feels comfortable for you. If you find that your chains are loose enough to put your hook through them, then you can do that if it just seems more natural to you. But if you're like me, just skip that spot and go into your next cluster. As long as you are consistent all the way through, it won't make a big difference. Now I'm going to show you how to start joining horizontally. Add your slip knot to your hook. Start in the corner, not that corner. But 2 corners together like you would when you're joining vertically. Same process, just going in the opposite direction. Because this yarn does split quite easily, my way of dealing with this is pulling my stitch up so I can find the middle of all of those strands and then sticking my hook back into the stitch. It happens to the best of us. Here I am getting close to the center. This is the last stitch before the center. And instead of doing the space in between the corners like you had in the previous row, you're going to just skip over it and go into the next stitch of the next set of squares. So you're not going into the corner space, you're just going into the next stitch. And here I am struggling to find the single back loop of this stitch, so bear with me. You just continue all the way down as you have previously, and that's what the corner looks like. So now I'm at the end and I'm doing my last stitch in the space in between the clusters like you have before. I'm going to cut myself a decent length of yarn to weave in later. And the way I like to finish off is to yarn over and pull through the entire stitch and give a nice little tug. And there you have it.